Many people think that batteries are the main reasons that EVs lose their range, but what if it's actually something cheaper and easier to fix? In this video, I want to show you if it's possible to improve the range of your electric car by maintaining it properly and fixing up a few bits. I'm also going to be showing you a few tips on how to maintain your electric car properly. And then we're going to do a range test to see if it's actually improved the range of this electric car simply by fixing it up. But first, let's do a base level range test to see how the efficiency looks without any of these changes. And this is going to be a mix of high speed sort of A-road driving and then low speed around kind of town, which stop-start traffic is involved. And let's see what the efficiency looks like as a baseline figure, and then I'll repeat the journey again. As you can see, we're on 78 miles and 99% range. Okay, I'm going to try to repeat the route as much as possible. Everything's off, there's no heating, there's no stereo or anything like that. And it's currently 10 degrees, a lovely mild afternoon, medium traffic. So it's really important to keep your car maintained because the wheels have bearings in them, and over time the bearings can actually fail and you can hear rubbing noises or grinding noises, and that means that the bearings, the round ball bearings, don't work as they should anymore because they've been worn down over time. So that's a chance to have a look at them and replace them as soon as possible, and that really could affect the range and the longevity of the battery because you have to use more energy. Okay, we're just coming up to 60 miles an hour on the A roads and are on 91%, and I've done 3.1 miles and the indicated range is 68 miles left. Okay, time to loop back round. It's a beautiful sunset. We are on 81%. We're on down to 60 miles range and we're done 11 miles exactly. And I'm going to put the cruise control on at 65 miles an hour. Okay, to give you an update, we're on 72%, 15.8 miles I've driven, and I've got 48 miles left on the indicated range. Still 10 degrees, 4 p.m, a mild day. Okay, we're on 67% now, going uphill, 66, and we've done 18.2 miles. I've got the cruise control on at 63 miles an hour, 41 miles left of range because we're going uphill, and we're just about to turn off. Okay, let's slow down. Okay, we haven't got long left on the journey now, and we're on 64% battery. I've done 19.7 miles, and it's gone up actually because I've used so much regen braking, but it's gone up to 42 miles of range. Now I know my car, it doesn't have much range because it's 10 years old and it's one of the first generation of electric cars, so that's to be expected really. Okay, great, we're coming to the end of my journey now, so let's give you an update on how we're doing. But before we get on to that, this video is sponsored by Viofo. They sent me their new A329S 3-channel dashcam for me to check out, and it's got some really useful features for anyone looking to upgrade their vehicle security. Installing it was actually really straightforward. You just stick it on the windscreen, plug it into the power socket, and that's it. You get a 4K video quality at the front, 2K at the rear, and you get a 2K fisheye lens camera to monitor the cabin inside. And that means your entire car is covered for every angle. Now this kind of setup is ideal for proving who was at fault in an insurance claim or an incident on the road. And the A329S has parking mode too. So even if you're away from the car, it can record any suspicious activity nearby. And also it will instantly record if it's been detected in a crash. There's also an optional polarizing lens as well, which cuts out windscreen glare to make the footage look even clearer. Now Viofo are running a Black Friday sale from the 20th of November to the 1st of December. So check the link below if you're watching during that time. And for everyone watching, you can get 5% off using the link in my description, which works outside the sale too. Later I'll show you some more features, but for now let's get back to the video. Okay, the end of the journey now, and we got 44 miles of range left, 63% battery, and I've done 21 miles exactly, which is good. So let me just work out the efficiency figures for that as a baseline test, and I'll put them on screen now. So let's go and see if we can improve that by fixing the car. So here are all the parts that I'm going to use to improve the efficiency of my car. First off, there's these two suspension arms, which the front right needs fixing because this bushing here is all perished, so that will hopefully improve from the clunking noise I used to get. I've got a brake wind back tool, so I can use that to replace the brakes with 2 sets of brake pads and 2 sets of brake discs, so we're going to do all 4 corners. Then I've got my one-man brake and clutch bleeding kit because it's just me today, and I've got 2 DOT4 brake fluids for a complete brake fluid replacement. To help with the brakes, I've got brake cleaner of course, wire brush to clear everything up, copper grease for the brake pads, And then I've got Blueprint handbrake shoes as well, because these bind and can cause rubbing against the brake disc, which could be bad for my efficiency. These are suspension strut caps, which help avoid moisture buildup in that area, so I'm going to use those to protect against rust. These are like fitting kits for brake pads, so again, thanks Febby for sending this out. I'll tell you more about them later. And then all the tools that I need, so jacking up the car, axle stands, and of course any kind of spanners and tools that I need to get the wheels off. So let's get into it, and I'll show you what it's like under the wheels to see how we can improve the suspension straight away. In a recent video I saw how bad one of the arms was on the suspension, and the fact that the bushings were all torn and cracked, and there also was a clunking noise coming from this side, so it's definitely, I believe it's that problem. Now, before jacking up the car and putting it on axle stands, make sure to loosen the wheel nuts so they are much easier to get off when the car is in the air. Now, I don't want to bore you with getting the suspension arm off because it honestly took forever. The bolts were all rusty and the nuts were impossible to get off. But eventually I got some help from my dad and we cut off the suspension arm. Now, this is a nightmare, so we didn't actually replace the other one. We just did this first one, and here's the final result of that. As you can see, we made a little bit of damage. Thanks to Febby for supplying the brakes and pads for this project. Just going to replace this with the new ones. Now, Febby, of course, manufacture products to OE standards, so you know you're getting good quality when you go through them. And to back that up, they've got 3 years manufacturer guarantee, so you know you're getting a good quality product. Febby parts are widely available, so check them out wherever you buy your parts from. Thanks so much for being a part supplier on this video, and let's get to it. To replace the brake discs and pads, you need to remove both the caliper bracket and the caliper itself. Now, for the caliper itself, it's a 14mm socket is required, and for the caliper bracket, it's 17mm. In older cars, they can be really rusty and really tight, so it's important to add some lubrication or some penetrating fluid like WD-40 so it loosens up the bolts on the inside. So, here are the 2 new Febby brake pads. And as you can see, the old ones aren't too bad, but Febby have come out top here, and so I'll be replacing these pads. I've given the caliper bracket a clean and a wire brush treatment, so it should be really clean now, even though it looks incredibly rusty, but we're all good. It'll be interesting to see how this affects the efficiency, because also brake pads are coming off. They are in pretty poor condition, very rusty on the inside, very rusty. Well overdue replacement, I think. Let's clean this up now. That's really rusty there. Now, brakes are important to replace every now and then because they bind, so they attach to the disc and can cause it to rub as the wheel's moving. That means therefore that you need more power to run the car, so the battery therefore will use more energy to get it going, and therefore it won't be as efficient if I want to replace it with new brakes. So this is what we're doing today. Okay, it's just starting to rain, so let me get these brakes cleaned. As they've got a special surface to stop them from corroding before they're put on the car, so that's why I'm doing this now. After putting the disc on, I put the caliper bracket back on, so it made it easier to put the new pads in. Now, I used some copper grease to smoothly let the brake pads move in and out as I was replacing them, so they don't bind again like I mentioned earlier. Now, it's been a while since I've done brakes, and before I would just use copper grease, but I've heard now that it's better to use ceramic grease, so on this occasion I've stuck to copper, but in the future I think it's better to use ceramic grease for high temperature applications like brakes. When working on brake calipers, make sure to always hang it up or prevent it from dangling, because being held up by the brake line, which is made of rubber, can cause the brake line to weaken and eventually break. So you do not want that situation where you're leaking brake fluid everywhere and your brakes don't work. So this is me cutting it down and refitting the caliper. It's also important to use the brake caliper wind back tool that I bought earlier to make sure that you're winding back the calipers so they can fit over the new brake pads, because the new brake pads will have more material and the old caliper will be pushed in based on how the old brake pads were. Earlier I installed the Viofo A329S dash cam, And what I didn't expect is how many features there are built into the app, so let me show you. You can view footage live, download clips, and change camera settings, all wirelessly on your phone. There's GPS tracking, built-in voice control, and even SSD support, so you can plug in up to 4 terabytes of external storage. So if you don't want to overwrite footage, you can store it on an external drive. Plus, with Sony Starvis 2 sensors for all 3 channels, you'll know you're getting high-quality footage too. It also has HDR night mode, which helps balance brighter lights and darker shadows. So even at night, you can clearly see what's going on without being overexposed. Viofo offer great security for your car and gives you that extra protection when you need it most. Again, Black Friday event runs from the 20th of November to the 1st of December, so do check it out using the link in my description. And for everyone watching, you can get 5% off using the link in my description. So let's get back to fixing my car. Okay, as you can see, I've got the old brake discs off. I've got the old caliper bracket off. Now it's time to clean it up, because it's had years of dust grime on it. By the way, I am not a mechanic, so this has been very interesting because of limiting tools, limiting knowledge. But hopefully we can improve the efficiency of this just by giving it a bit of a refurb. Let's get some brake cleaner. Okay, time for new brake pads and time for new brake discs. New brake discs going on. Thanks again to Febby and their partners Blueprint for supplying OE matching quality parts. Again, find them in your nearest parts store. So behind here has all been cleaned, so now it's time to put this caliper bracket back on. Just like the other side, after I installed the caliper bracket back on, I put the new pads back in with a little bit of force and a tap of the hammer, and then I torqued up all of the bolts required for the caliper bracket and the caliper itself. After all the cleaning and the new parts, here is the final result on the left side and on the right side. Now that's much better, isn't it? It's just started raining now, so that's perfect. I've just got the car inside, jacked it up, put it on rear axle stands, and let's see what it's like with the condition of the handbrake cable and the shoes, and then let's replace the discs and the pads and the handbrake shoes. Now the process to remove the rear calipers are very similar to the front, except of course underneath the brake discs there are the handbrake shoes. Now the rear caliper bracket used 17mm socket and the rear caliper itself used a 14mm socket. Febby has sent me these new brake pad guides. I'll be putting them in these brake pads when I get them replaced. Okay, now it's time to install the brake pads. The old ones look okay, but they just look very old, so they definitely need replacing, and I'll just clean all this up now. Now at this point it was very late in the day and I just ran out of time. So I didn't finish fitting the handbrake shoes, and instead I just focused on the discs and the pads. So that'll be another video at a later date. So hit subscribe if you want to see the progress on this Leaf and let me bring it back to its former glory. But for now, let's finish this off and let's see if this affects the efficiency of the car by doing the same road trip again. Join me. But before that, there's one final surprise I want to show you about this car. I've just made a shocking discovery, so look at the state of that shield. You can see that on camera, but the amount of rust that's come off and I've had to cut off, and oh my goodness me, that is in a right state. Obviously it needs replacing, but for now we're just going to do the discs and pads because I simply don't have enough time. Now we're a bit warmer today, but it's a bit muggy in terms of like cloudy, and it looks like it's going to rain, so we'll see, kind of maybe take that into account as well, but we'll see what that does to the efficiency figures. We had quite low figures before, so yeah, same route, exact same route, and let's see how we get on. And also going to give you some summaries on what went well and what didn't go so well with this project of changing the brakes. So I've reset the trip computer. We're on 99% just like we were before, but this time the indicated range is only 73 miles. So it'd be interesting to see how we get on with this. There is quite a lot of squeaking in these brakes, but they do work. And I think it's going to be a bit of rubbing at the start. Just like before, I've got no heating on and the same conditions in terms of the car. I have no control over the weather or the traffic, so it'd be interesting to see what happens here. Okay, just like before, we're doing 57 or 58 miles an hour, and we're going to go downhill for a bit now before going back uphill the same way. And we're on 92% battery, 3.3 miles have been driven, and indicated range of 65 miles left, which I think is a little bit better than last time, but it might be because we're on 14 degrees today instead of 10, but who knows. Now, I discovered a lot of things on this challenge, and the first one is the fact that I'm not a mechanic, and it's really, really hard if you haven't got the proper equipment in terms of like having a ramp and the proper working height, because I'm quite tall, and putting it down low and on axle stands meant that I was bending down a lot, and my neck and my shoulders and back and arms were killing me that day. So I will either need to do the next job in the workshop properly or not at all, because I haven't got the proper tools and equipment either. I expected to get it all done in one day, and I didn't get it all done in 2 days, which is incredible. Okay, situation update. We're on 87% battery. I've done 8.4 miles, and it still says 65 miles range, which is quite impressive, really. Okay, we're just about to exit the A road now, and then make our loop back around, just like we did before. Okay, looping back round. 84% battery, 11 miles we've travelled, and 64 miles left of range. So I think already that's quite an improvement on before. Okay, I'm going to put it back on to 65 miles an hour on the cruise control, and then we're going to cruise back, exit the A road, do a bit of in-town driving, and let's see what the result is. Okay, we're on 77% now, only 55 miles of indicated range left, and we've done 15 miles in total. Okay, we're just reaching our final destination now. Let's park up and give you a situation update, because it's very interesting how different it is. There we go. Okay, final report. We are on 68%. We've done 21 miles exactly, just like before, and it says 50 miles of indicated range left. So that's very interesting. So basically, to work it out, even after adjusting for the colder 10-degree conditions, the new brake pads and discs still improved efficiency by around 7 to 12% on the same route. Okay, so there you go. Technically, improving your car by maintaining it properly can actually increase the range and improve efficiency. But there's so many different factors that affect the range. So make your own conclusions. Okay, thanks again to Viofo for sponsoring this video, and check them out in the link in the description. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.